Again, welcome to the Shelly streaming room in our headquarters in Sofia, Bulgaria. I'm seeing that we have almost 270 participants live in the webinar today, and this is definitely a record for us. This webinar has 100 registrations, another record for us. From what I can see and what we have
1,000.
seen, sorry?
1,000, not 100, Shanae.
1,000 exactly. Thank you, Antonio. 1,000 registrations, which is an absolute record. So we are very excited for this webinar. We are joined today by Simone and Massimiliano, who are the absolute Home Assistant experts and contributors. They will share with you the basics and not only about Home Assistant. With you saw also Antonio Curello, who is the sales director from Italy. Shelly, sales director from Italy, has joined the meeting as well to help with the presentation, to open the conversation with Home Assistant team. And at the end, he will take care and answer, or he will take care of the Q&A. Today, as I mentioned at the beginning, we closed the chat because we do have a huge participation. But the Q&A portion of in Teams is open. So if you have any open questions throughout the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A. And at the end, we will answer. And a surprise to all participants, this is the very first time that at the end of this presentation, we will offer to you a 20% promo code that you can use for the Shelly Relays. Okay, we will speak about the promo code at the end. Once again, I will explain a bit more the rules around the promo code, but definitely we have created this specifically and especially for you because we can see that the interest for Home Assistant is huge. And definitely this won't be the very first and last webinar, but there are more to come. From here on, I'm just gonna step aside and let the experts present to you all about Home Assistant. Thank you very much, everyone. So Simone, Antonio, everyone, take over.
Thank you, Shanae, for organizing this, and thank you everybody that joined us for this huge participation. We are really thrilled. We cannot even count all the number of people that registered today, and we are very happy. And once again, welcome Simone Camelli and Massimiliano Bacchi from the Home Assistant Contributors team. I'm really excited to be here with you, especially since you are two of the major people that actually helped creating Home Assistant, such a welcoming environment for the Shelly devices. So you've been very key people in the cooperation between our two projects, and today we're going to talk about it. So Simone, would you like to take over and start sharing your screen and tell us something more about yourself and Home Assistant?
Thank you, Antonio. And thank you for Shanae for organizing everything. Thank you for everybody from me too. We are a lot. I'm really excited because I'm combining two hobbies. Actually, one is to be the super fan of Shelly, and one to be the Home Assistant contributor for the Shelly integration, and not only, spoiler. But yet I'm really happy. So sorry if I do some language errors. I'm not native English, but I try to do my best with all of you.
You were saying at the end we're going to have a Q&A session, and the Q&A portion of the webinar is open, so you can actually start placing questions right now. You should see, based on your language, on the language that you have, Teams Q&A or domande e risposte in Italian, for example. I don't know it in any other language, so I'll not try it, but yes, you can start asking questions there, and they will be reviewed and answered at the end.
Exactly. This is just the first webinar we do about Home Assistant and Shelly. We will not go too much in depth, but still I hope we will give you an idea of the full potential and the full features of the combination of the two. So let's begin. Home Assistant, I think you more or less know if you are here what it is, but just let me introduce the system is 100% open source, means that it is transparent, community-driven development. Everyone can participate, see the code, change it, understand how it works, contribute, and whatever. It's based as first things on privacy. So he wants that the data stay in your home, in your own control, and without any other needs of external connection, basically. There are more than 2,000 integrations, means 2,000 different brands are integrated in Home Assistant, which is one of the world-leading home automation platform and has really a huge installation all over the world. I think that the most important things about it are those 3 key points. I wanted to stress the last one because I think it is still one of the most important of all. So why we say one platform about smart home? Because with Home Assistant, you can connect different brands with different features, devices that offer different features. So you can control the climate, the video surveillance, for example. You can have a remote control all of the Shelly ecosystem, which goes from the well-known relays to the covers to the Bluetooth new devices, and all the stuff can actually speak together through Home Assistant through one single system. And not only, we can have a lot more devices which are usually not considered as smart home devices from the beginning, so they are not the traditional devices. I have a few of those, and for example, I enjoy the plant sensors when I am not home, and I can open the irrigation system when needed based on the sensors, which are the Bluetooth sensors. Or to know that I am going to finish the toner of my printer, so I can order it in advance before finishing it. And basically, everything that is connected somehow with the different protocols, we will see later on which ones, can be connected, configured in Home Assistant, and can expand the possibilities of the device itself. And as I just introduced before, we have a very powerful communication and notifications system that is even event-driven. So when something happens, you can decide how to handle this situation. Like I'm coming home and I'm coming out from home. I left my light on. I get a notification that tells me you forgot your light on. What you want to do, switch off or ignore? And so I can even switch off and have a saving just because I will leave for the weekend and forgot the light open, for example, or the climate, even worse because it costs much. And the notification can be done in several different ways. Telegram, but the push notification from Home Assistant native application, and some other integrations as well. Twilio, which is a well-known one, and so on. So it's really powerful.
Yes, and they work very good, if I may. Can I ask you a question, Simone?
Yes, please, Antonio.
You said that there are lots of installations throughout the world in your first slide, and I wondered,
Yeah.
do you happen to have a number or a projection or an estimate or how many Home Assistants are currently installed in the world?
Actually, what we know is that we have more or less 300,000, 350,000 installations, which is an underestimating number, because when you install Home Assistant, you are asked, you remember privacy first, so you are asked if you want to join the analytics system or not. So we are sure that not everybody replied yes, and we have the numbers only of those that
actually wanted to disclose it. Wow, yeah. So it's a very small portion. Wow.
yeah, is probably 1/3, something like that. So probably you have to multiply by 3 to get the real numbers or something like that.
Yeah.
If we go in Italy, for example, I'm Italian, so I know the market a bit more. I know that a lot of people doesn't participate in analytics. So if you check the Italian statistics, is way lower than the real numbers.
And we know from market research the Home Assistant is one of the most used controllers. So yeah, of course, Italians are a little bit skeptical. You know, they tend to say no to every privacy notification. Probably that's right.
Actually, this is the habit of the country, right, Antonio? Yeah. And both of us are Italian, so we know very well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. And the most attractive things from my point of view is the automation engine. The automation engine is what allows different brands, different devices to work together without having to know the details of each device. So you can mix and match those. For example, if it is night, and I have the lights on, when I ask to switch on the TV, switch off the light. So I can have an automation that when I switch on the TV, he recognizes that the TV is switched on. He recognizes that there is a lot of light outside, so he can switch off the lights or whatever it is. For example, you open the window and he stops the climate, the AC controller. And it will switch it on again when you close the window to save money. And really, the limit is only your fantasy. There is no limits currently. This is why we define the automation engine a powerful one. And we can also customize the dashboard in a lot of way, but I would like Antonio to step in as we are speaking now about Shelly devices, and he is the master and commander of those.
Well, a little bit of them, but yes, for sure, it is as much true. Can you move on the next slide, Simone, please?
Yes.
It is as much true what you said about the automation engine that I use every day, that I create to do the most convoluted and complicated stuff, but it's actually quite easy to do even the simple stuff. Not only Home Assistant allows us to create interesting and powerful automations between different types of devices, but it also allows us to display the results of those automations and those controls with incredibly customizable dashboards. Can you confirm, Massimiliano, do you see my slide correctly?
Yeah, now is correct.
Okay, very well. And the designer in Home Assistant is drag and drop. Is basically what you see, what you get editor. So it's quite easy to actually create your own personalized design. It's responsive, so it adapts to any kind of screen, a tablet, a computer, or whatever else it's needed in that moment, or a smartphone, of course. And of course, there are lots of themes and customization that the community created, or you can even create your own. And the responsive design is actually a feature that Shelly took advantage of when we created our own Home Assistant integration for the Shelly wall displays. As you know, we have three types of Shelly wall displays: the 1, the 2, and the XL 10-inch wall display, and all of them support the Home Assistant interface integration, which means that with them we can easily display a customized dashboard that has been created in Home Assistant itself, which means that the wall display can become not just the controller for the Shelly devices, but the controller for the incredibly complex maybe ecosystem that we created with all the devices that we could integrate with Home Assistant. And so we did it with knowing that this was something that the community really wanted to use, because lots of Home Assistant users sometimes often use a tablet. Maybe Massimiliano, you can agree on that. There are many installations where you have an Android tablet just placed on the wall in some way, and you use that as a display to actually display your interfaces. But the tablet has a battery, might have overheating issues, also different price, also different purpose. So these displays are really a nice designed product, in my opinion, because they really satisfy a specific need, which is to have a not battery powered device, but a AC powered device, still flexible, still Android based, but that allows us to replace an actual wall socket, because in this case, this display also contains a relay. And a little spoiler, maybe we can do it. The new version of the wall display will also contain a dimmer or additional relays. So there are news coming up. So stay tuned on the new devices. So the wall display not only displays Home Assistant, but also, as I was saying, can actually manage electrical loads. So effectively replace a physical switch on the wall, and becoming a very integrated part of the smart home ecosystem. Is Simone back? Just to check if he was able to come back. I think his connection kind of dropped.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, he's back. Oh,
I had a disconnection. I will rejoin.
I imagine.
In a while. I'm from the phone right now. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Take a few seconds. I will expand our conversation talking about Shelly devices while we wait for you to come back and resume. And we were saying that thanks to specifically Simone and Massimiliano, but in general, thanks to the Home Assistant community and the power of an open source driven community, the integration with Home Assistant is complete on the Shelly ecosystem, which means that you can locally integrate seamlessly, discover new devices, deliver fast response, and have great reliability and full privacy with all the Shelly devices. The automatic detection is actually quite useful. I use it every time I install new devices, because I just open my Shelly interface in the Home Assistant configuration, and I just see the devices that I just powered on. And it's nice that I can take advantage of all the different capabilities of the Shelly devices. So of course, if I have a Shelly device that controls an LED strip on Home Assistant, I will have control for light, for color, not just for dimmer. If I have a Shelly device that controls a fan, I can very easily make it look like a fan, and then it's just a switch on off. So based on what the Shelly device does, the interface can be, of course, customized and made it look and make it look as much closer as we want to create something that is easy. And it not just easy to use, but also easy for us designers when we are creating it and installing it. I see, Simone, that you're back. I'm glad. I'm sorry that your connection dropped.
Give me just a few seconds. I cannot share yet the presentation.
If you want, I can stay on the slides, and you can just take. I can present from my end.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No
problem. The good of the live meeting, like we say in Italy. The nice thing of being live. So thank you, Antonio, for the introduction and the details about the Shelly devices. Now we go back to Home Assistant and see how easy it is to onboard on Home Assistant itself. So we won't spend too much time about the installation of our Home Assistant, which is of course the first step of the trip of the road to get back on the system, because this is only the first webinar, as Shenai anticipated, and we don't want to go too much in details, in technical details, but we can speak about it if you need something during the Q&A part, or later on we will share our contacts anyway. So let's assume we have installed Home Assistant in one of the many ways we can have it. After that, we need, of course, to connect the devices, the physical connection of the device, Shelly, Samsung TV, Mitsubishi air conditioner, or whatever it is. Then, when we access Home Assistant, we will see that everything is more or less ready to be used. We will see with the Maximiliano demo later on how easy it is to onboard a new device. Then we just have to play our home, which means build our automation, which means design our dashboard, and explore and expand all the features that this new system, which is combined Shelly and Home Assistant, can give us. And again, I already told you, but let me stress it a lot, the limit is your fantasy. There is no limit in what you can achieve and what you can do with this system. So let's go just a little bit in the details on how to be ready with the system. On the left, the first screenshot shows you what you will get the first time you connect to Home Assistant. So you install it, you open the browser, connect to the URL, and this is what you have. You create your smart home. Then you create your user, and voila, you already have a list of all compatible devices connected to your network, which is not only Wi-Fi, but can be many other things like Zigbee, Z-Wave, Bluetooth, and so on. So we can have the auto detection of many devices and, of course, about all Shellys. So all Shellys are auto detected. And by all, I mean all. We don't care the protocol of the device itself, being Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, whatever. All Shelly are supported so far. So everything you find in the shop is already configurable and usable inside Home Assistant. Let's see a little bit about automations. Why we say that those automations are so powerful and so strong. Because it's not a if-then, like many other software does, if this, then that, but we have a lot of conditions. So the trigger is the if, something happens, then you have some condition that you want to apply to that specific event, and then you do an action. You have a few examples in this slide, but again, the limit is only you. So for example, if the sunset, okay, you just wanted to. So if the temperature rises above 25 degrees, but it is a weekdays, then I switch on the air conditioning. And the if means that it can trigger even in weekend, but the condition only during weekdays will not make the action and the automation execute. So this is why it is so powerful, because you can combine it with multiple conditions, multiple triggers, and of course, multiple actions. For example, when the dishwash is finish, I always forget to take the dishes out. So I have a notification on my mobile, and if I am home, also my Alexa. So I have two notifications. But of course, Alexa is meaningless. If I am not home, I cannot hear it. So the automation is built to do the action of notify via Telegram always, and to notify the Alexa only if we have only if we are at home. Sorry, it's fine. Okay, sorry. I saw you, everybody freezed. I was worried to have again an issue about my connection or my PC. Sorry.
No, it's working so far.
Nice. So we can go on and take a closer look to some real world example. For example, and here you see one. I arrive home after sunset. This is a condition. I turn on the hallway light to 60% brightness, and I wanted to start playing my music on my living room speaker. but also set the thermostat to 21 degrees. So you see there is one trigger, I arrive home, one condition after sunset, and then a few actions, not just one, more than one, at least 3 in this example. And this just to tell you how can be everything completed by the automation system. And so you can mix and match everything and make it very, very interesting for your real life comfort, let's say.
In this example, I would have added another condition that would have been if there's dark inside, because maybe after sunset, but there's still some other additional light. Yes, that's interesting. You can use many devices that include sensors that you may not even know about it, and Home Assistant will know about them and will display the sensors to you, so you can take advantage of the data and use it to create conditions.
Or for example, this is if nobody is at home, this is the automation. But if somebody is already home and is already listening to something else, I will not overwrite their choice with my relaxing evening. And so I do everything but that step, because that step has again one more condition to execute. And you see, just speaking, we can complicate and make it feature rich as much as we want. And we can discuss this for hours, and everybody can be able to add something more and make the automation even better, even more interesting. And this is why it's so powerful. And usually is one of the main reasons to approach a system like Home Assistant, getting all the automation around all the devices.
And really make it come alive. Make it come alive, because at some point when the automations work seamlessly, you don't change them every day, which means that they really adapt to your lifestyle, which means that they work, that you reach the point of maturity that really creates a system that works by itself. And that's the whole point in the end. So
very true, very true, very true. I told you before that we support many platforms, and we do it from 3 different point of view. Let's say from the operating system, where you can install Home Assistant. I won't go depth in details of the type of installation and whatever, but you have Linux, Windows, Mac OS, so the 3 environments are all supported with different way of working. It can be physical or virtual, and so on and so on. But just to let you know that whatever you have, it will work, basically. Same goes from the mobile native application, native mobile app, because it supports both iOS and Android, and is you find it on the store, ready to use, nothing to know or to worry about. If you are in the same wireless network as your Home Assistant, it will auto-detect Home Assistant and just ask you for name and password, nothing else, which is again one easy step to get into the mobile application. And finally, but not least, let's say, connectivity standards. We have a lot of connectivity standards. We have already mentioned the Wi-Fi, the LAN, of course, but we have Zigbee, we have Bluetooth, we have Z-Wave, and basically all the protocols on the market. We have support for Matter. We have support again for some cable system. I don't know exactly the English name to say that, but there are some old system like KNX that are
KNX, of course.
Yeah, they are through cable and not through
bus cable system. Yes.
Yeah, bus cable. Thank you, Antonio. Bus cable systems. So basically everything on the market as a protocol is supported. I already told you we have more than 2,000 brands supported, so the mix and match between the brands and the connectivity standards makes mostly devices available in Home Assistant. Just one quick
interesting part. Who is Nabu Casa? This is something that many users of Home Assistant don't know. So this is actually quite important to stress out. Who is behind Home Assistant?
This is just a quick overview, very quick overview on Nabu Casa. We will go more in depth in the next maybe webinar or whatever. When you have such a system like Home Assistant, you want it to be available always, not only when you are at home, but when you are also outside your home, so not connected to your own network. Nabu Casa makes this very simple because it creates a tunnel between your system and their system. Is a cloud solution which has a monthly fee, which is, if I don't remember wrong, is something like 5 or 6 euros per month. And it gives you not only the easy, secure HTTPS certificate connection to your system, just to let you know, which is the same level of protection that your home banking does. Okay, so this is something really secure, but also he gives you easy access to vocal assist, voice assistants like Alexa and Google, which needs a lot of configuration if done by you. Instead, here you have an out-of-the-box experience, just a few clicks and you have everything set up and working. On top of that, they give you also a cloud space for backup. So you can backup on the cloud. If something broken on your house, you just buy the new hardware, you install a fresh Home Assistant. When you are asked to create your home, instead of create, you can select the button restore. You give your password and he will restore everything from your account. Yes, thank you, Antonio. You see here, Home Assistant Cloud. You can restore from there or from your local backup, of course, because remember that everything can be local, which is one of the most appreciated philosophy of this software, of this ecosystem. So this is optional, it's not mandatory, but if you want to go with the Nabu Casa, you will get 3 things ready to go. And they also developed an official Home Assistant hardware, which is called the Green, Home Assistant Green, which is the latest and the best. There are others, older version, but I suggest you, if you go that way, to go with Home Assistant Green, which is an optimized mini PC powered Raspberry, is in the middle of the two. To get already all supported the chip from Home Assistant, so you have Bluetooth, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, and whatever, and pre-installed Home Assistant software, so you have again an out-of-the-box marvelous experience.
Absolutely, and other hardware as well. For example, a Z-Wave antenna, and that's quite interesting to you if you want to use Z-Wave Shelly devices, for example. So yeah. They are definitely creating a set of tools that every installer can use to complete and create a very powerful installation.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Simone. This was really enlightening. I'm seeing that we are a little bit ahead with our schedule. We are running a little bit late. So while we'll jump over to the demo that Massimiliano will take, I'll ask him if it's possible to speed it up, because we want to have a little bit more time for the Q&A. I see that there are many questions coming up, and you can still post them, of course, in the Q&A section of the webinar. And our team and Shania are reading them. Shania is giving me a heart because I'm telling them to speed up. So it means that she's taking care of the schedule behind the scenes. So again, thank you very much, Simone. This was a very great presentation, and we have now a much clearer overview of what Home Assistant can do and why it's a very interesting choice to power our future smart home. Also, it was quite funny to me that you said all devices like K and X. That really resonated in me, because it's still considered by many professionals the standard to go. And of course, in some very specific scenarios, it might be necessary to have a cable connection. But it's becoming more and more clear that the security and the reliability that you can have with the network connection, even if cabled, it's equal, if not superior, to the twisted pair. And so you're right in saying that is more and more standard that we're going to let in the past at some point. Massimiliano,
it's my turn. Okay.
Would you like? It's your turn. You would like to share your screen? Can you cover this part for the demo?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, let me start. Hi everyone. It's great to see such a big audience today. Thank you for being here. In this slide demo, I show how Home Assistant can integrate smart devices to automate actions and visualize energy data, all locally managed with no need for the cloud. We can start from the integration. So this is the main dashboard, but we jump to the real very interesting part is the discover the devices. Okay, so in a couple of clicks, here you can see all integrations automatically discovered by Home Assistant, including, for example, the router of the home the NAS, and also the Shelly devices. Home Assistant detected the supported devices on local network and suggested adding them with one click. This makes onboarding extremely easy, even for non-technical users, and sure, more easy with the Shelly devices. On the devices tab here, we can, for example, see this a new discover the Shelly. So I can add to my list in Home Assistant, and I can add with to a area inside my home. Okay, for example here, and here you can see all the functionality capabilities about the Shelly. For example, you have always one properties regarding the energy, and the capabilities, for example, for switching input or output in the Shelly devices. Okay. Here, each Shelly device is here represented as a controller relay, energy meter, or sensor that can be used in automations. Here you can monitor power usage, firmware version, and sensor states in real time. This is very important because Home Assistant every 30 seconds take a look and updates the status of all devices. So if you make some change here in less than 1 minute, you get the Home Assistant updated.
Sorry, I jump in just to clarify a bit. The change of energy, input, power, and all sensors is within 1 millisecond. Yes, you heard right, 1 millisecond, because it's a Shelly that push us the changes and the Home Assistant get it immediately. Massimiliano was referring to the fact that you can change some behavior, some configuration of the device from the web interface or the Shelly app. In that case, after at worst 30 seconds, Home Assistant will get the new configuration. For example, if you change the name of a channel from living room to something else, he will reflect this change within 30 seconds without you doing nothing on Home Assistant. Is completely in sync with the device, physical device itself, and if you use it with the Shelly mobile app. Sorry, Massimiliano, to step in.
Thanks, Simone. Another thing is the firmware update. Home Assistant keep tracks of firmware updates of all of devices. So, for example, if a Shelly device may have an update available, you can check the release notes or click update directly from the dashboard. Okay. This helps keeps all devices secure and up to date without leaving the Home Assistant interface. This is very important because you have always the last version of firmware for your or Shelly devices. Then I show you how to create an automation. Is something very easy. For example, I click here where I have all my Shelly devices configured. Then with one click, I jump here again, and here I can create a new automation. Okay. For example, here you have a limited how Simone has told before possibilities. Okay. For example, you have to add a trigger. Okay. There is I can make it already again. Okay. So you can choose here your Shelly devices, for example.
You see how many triggers you have, guys. You have devices, so the whole device.
For example,
single entity.
on switch 0, then you can add the condition, for example, time condition, when you have sunset, sunrise, okay. Then you can add...
Sorry, Massimiliano, it froze a little bit. Are you still on add trigger device?
I'm so fast, probably. For example, here we can trigger a Shelly Pro 2 PM if it's switched on, for example. Okay, I select Shelly, okay, Pro PM2, okay. When it's switched, turned on or turned off. I can also set how many times is the duration of the switch. Now I leave this part for now because I want to trigger immediately, and I can choose time and condition, for example, such some conditions, so the automatically only tools only run the automation only runs during daylight after sunset. Okay, this is an example, and the last thing is the most important is add the final action. Okay, for example, I have my Philips light. I can, for example, power on a light. Okay.
So if I read it correctly, the Shelly Pro 2 PM is two relays devices. So when somebody else through the pressure of a physical switch or from a software or from Alexa activates the Shelly Pro 2 PM independently, then Home Assistant detects that the Shelly Pro 2 PM has been activated, which means another light, like the entrance light, has been turned on. Then it checks if the sun is still up or not, and then if it is, it turns on also the Philips Hue lamp. So that's
this is an example, but you can, for example, add an action to trigger another device. You can create a chain with a different device or different action is always possible inside the automation. But the real powerful things is in a couple click you get this working with, for example, Shelly devices. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, now there is another part where I back to the dashboard. Here, for example, you see the consumption of this house. Okay, in all the day. This data is coming in real time for Shelly device. This is 3 AM devices. Okay, and if you take a look here, this is the capability of the energy monitoring by Shelly devices. For example, here I can get all counters about every every equipment inside my house. Okay, for example, heat pump, ventilation, or the oven in the kitchen. Okay, so all the devices and all energy consumption is under your control. Okay. And one thing is very nice is there is a specific dashboard, energy dashboard inside Home Assistant. And if you add, for example, a devices like a Shelly devices which have an energy capabilities, this dashboard has automatically updated. Okay. For example, here I have the consumption of the home and also the production of the solar plant, okay? And the energy distribution is, sorry?
Sorry, just to say, I take a look at the question. I see a lot of questions about energy metering. This is the dashboard you need to get to meter energy and then to analyze it. And it can be configured way more in detail than what we did during this demo. Is just to show you that you don't have to worry if a device is restarted because of a power outage, because in the device itself, the sensor will show 0 as power consumed, but here is a sum of all the consumption. So you get the real consumption over time.
It makes sense.
Just a few, makes sense.
No, I just wanted to point out that we are 9 minutes left, so we are gonna cross a little bit over the 5 p.m. for Central Europe or 4 p.m. for Eastern Europe threshold, but we need to speed up a little.
We are closing. I have completed the demo for the this first webinar. So in just a few steps, we have integrated a Shelly Energy Meter, updated its framework, built an automation, visualize the energy data, all locally with Home Assistant. This demo shows how easy and flexible open source home automation can be done with Shelly and Home Assistant. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Massimiliano. And this was very interesting to see. I want to point out one thing about what we've seen in the demo. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, Massimiliano, this is all built in, out of the box in the basic Home Assistant installation. You didn't use any specific add-on or additional features or additional dashboard. So this is how it looks and what it does from a logic point of view. And this is very powerful. Of course, in terms of aesthetic dashboards and representation of the data and of the interfaces, that's much that you can do on top of it to make it look less technical, maybe, and more, user-friendly. And that is exactly what we mentioned when we talked about the Home Assistant wall display integration. Let's then dive right into the questions because we have a lot, and let's try to make them go. So we answered already some questions on the chat. Let's start with the ones that we did not answer. Do I understand correctly that the integration, says a user, doesn't poll the integration doesn't poll devices, but the devices send data to Home Assistant on data change? I mean, Wi-Fi devices via the Shelly integration, not via MQTT mode, MQTT connection. So basically, this user is asking. Okay, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
That's true. That's correct. All protocols like Wi-Fi and Zigbee are push protocols. So Home Assistant is just waiting for an information coming from the device. Is not polling the device, is just receiving data real time. This is why we say that from when a sensor or something happens, like a button is pushed, a switch is turned on physically, under 1 millisecond, you get the information in Home Assistant. So this is one of the most powerful things Shelly did, a local push protocol.
Very nice, and in fact, the performance I have to admit is quite good. Any planning to an updated Home Assistant hardware? I like the green, but like the green, but with some hardware upgrade, like with more CPU or RAM or storage.
So the answer is yes and no. No, I don't know the plan of Nabu Casa official hardware supporting, but I have to share an information that Massimiliano and I are trying to create a more powerful hardware fully supported from Home Assistant and offer also support to installers. So we don't give you only the hardware, but we give you also the support if you have trouble installing, configuring, or maintenance for the month, years after installation.
Okay, that's very nice. Can we expect Shelly will display to be seen as speakers in Home Assistant, or to have way to work with Assist? To have way to work with Assist? I think it means with the voice assistant. Yes, yes.
Yeah. We will investigate with the Shelly developers if this is feasible. Let's say if the hardware itself support it, I'm sure that Shelly is more than keen to update the firmware to do that, and we will for sure follow with Home Assistant integration to add this feature. Nothing I can say on my own right now, but let's see. Let's exactly with the Shelly and come back to you later on.
Because definitely they will display all of them has speakers and they have the capability of stream audio via Bluetooth to external Bluetooth devices, but to accept an audio stream, I don't think that that's been done so far, but maybe it's worth looking into that. So yeah, we'll come back on that. Another question, Bluetooth devices can be integrated via Shelly integration, BT Home integration, and I mean, it can be integrated via Shelly integration and or BT Home integration. What's the difference?
So Shelly integration doesn't support itself Bluetooth in the meaning that you are using BT Home integration in the end, but there is a really interesting note that you don't have to do anything to integrate Bluetooth in Home Assistant, because every Shelly Gen 3 or actually maybe Gen 2, but for sure Gen 3 and on can support scripts, and
some does Gen 2 as well.
Yes. Gen 2, thank you. So
not all of them, but some of them, yes.
Yeah. Home Assistant will inject automatically a script. You don't have to write the script to know nothing about the script. It is automatically done by Shelly integration. He pushes a script in the Shelly device, and from now on it will accept all Bluetooth connection, and you will see them in BT Home.
All right. Yeah, there are many different possibilities. If you have a sensor, you can just read the sensor if it's not encrypted directly via BT Home, and you don't need the Shelly integration. It depends basically on what you want to do. But you have
nice of the Shelly integration is that Bluetooth can be everywhere, can be very far from Home Assistant, because you have the Shelly device that does as Bluetooth hub to receive all the data. I do that for my plant, for example. I receive all Bluetooth data plant in my garden, and then Shelly via Wi-Fi send them to my Home Assistant, while Bluetooth is too far away. And so this way I can simplify easily put in place this, but it works with the doors and windows sensor from Shelly and whatever you want. The meteo station from Shelly, for example, I use station, as well, and so on.
That's a new product. Many of you might not know it. The EcoVit weather station is currently available on the website. And Shelly has a nice functionality for displaying charts and numbers. I think he means the Shelly app, for displaying charts and numbers with energy information for a device. Do you have documentation information on how I can get the same info charts in Home Assistant, especially per selected period? For example, last 24 hours, last week, something like that.
Yes, the energy dashboard that Max showed you before can be filtered by device or by point in time. So yes, absolutely, you get the same chart as the Shelly app also in Home Assistant. The documentation is all free, and if you find a bug in the documentation of something missing, you are encouraged to ask and update it yourself. But anyway, is on the website of Home Assistant, and everything is there. It's quite detailed.
Cool. I have just begun my Home Assistant journey, and I have quite a few Zigbee devices to adopt. I will use Shelly Gen 4 devices and plan to have them set to Zigbee as well. Question: should I use ZHA or Zigbee to MQTT for the best Shelly Zigbee support?
ZHE is the most common and modern interface, so I would go with it. Nothing against Zigbee to MQTT, but I prefer to be native with ZHE, sorry.
ZHA, yes, okay. The
Sorry.
Taka. Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Another one for Simone. Is it enough to configure Shelly integration within Home Assistant to have local connections without the cloud? Or do I need to configure MQTT as well to make everything work locally?
No, absolutely. You don't have to do nothing on the device, but connect it to the Wi-Fi or Zigbee network. That's it. It will be auto-detected by our Home Assistant that will inject the configuration to work locally in the most reliable way, in the push way. So nothing to do for you.
Very well. Then another one about this one has been flagged by our nice technical colleague Heinz Heimann that I just reading. How is the development release flow? Is there a beta channel and then stable channel, or major releases are yearly released every year?
No, is far most quicker and often than that. The release is based on the month of the release. So the first Wednesday of each month, we release the new version. So now is 2025.11.x. The .0 is the first of the month. Then we have the patch release every 5, 6, or 7 days. It depends on how many bugs we found. And we release the .1, .2, .3, and so on. And then we switch to the 2025 12.0, which will be the first week of December, the first Wednesday of December. In the middle, in the last 10 days of the month, we start the beta of the upcoming month. So you are welcome to test also the beta if you would like. I do, for example.
Okay, very well. Then last question, so we can invite Shanai to join us back, so we can finally give you the promo code that she was talking about at the beginning. The question is probably for me, and the question says, is it possible to use the Shelly Plus devices with Bluetooth as a Bluetooth gateway bridge in Home Assistant, or do I need to buy the Blue Gateway dongle? No, is it? It's possible, meaning that the Bluetooth devices that talk to the Shelly device, to the Shelly Plus device, will be available to Home Assistant through the integration. Is that correct, Simone? They don't need to talk directly to Home Assistant.
Is exactly what I was saying before. You can use a Shelly Plus that supports the Bluetooth and script to do the proxy of those data.
Yes, very well. Then thank you for all of your questions. We replied most of them, and thank you to Valerio and all the other Heinz and all the other colleagues that replied the questions directly to you in the Q&A section. I believe it's time to get some promotions, isn't that right, Shanai?
Before everything, I just would like to say thank you very much for all the information, for the conversation that you had, all the questions that you answered. Here in the background, we were switching and sending over some questions to each other. So it was definitely pretty dynamic in the background. The last slide for this presentation. Thank you very much for bearing with us. I know we are up with 4 minutes. The last slide are the contact of Simone, Massimiliano, and Antonio. I know someone in the Q&A asked about their contacts, so this is the slide. We've provided their emails, so take a note and feel free to reach out to them if you have any other open questions dedicated to Home Assistant. This is it from our end. Thank you very much for the great collaboration. Simone, Antonio, Valerio, Meg, Margherita, and Massimiliano. It was a great teamwork, and Sanko, who is here at the background helping with the tech.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.